ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्यस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 33, verse number 38. So this is the and last two slokas of this chapter and also the last slokas of Rāsa-līlā. So we studied earlier that King Parikshit has raised question about Krishna's dealings with the gopis, which seem to be outside the moral bounds, social convention. Therefore he asked this, that how is that he did this, and it seems a despicable act according to the dharma principles. So what is the reason we have this doubt? Please dispel this doubt. So Sri Sukadeva Goswami has replied. Basically he said that this is not a defect on his part because he is Ishvara, but ultimately he said that he basically gave 2-3 replies. That was the first one. Then he said that he is being Ishvara, he is inside everyone's heart, so there is nothing if he plays outside, everything belongs to him. And then the last reply he gave was that he performs these pastimes for educating people. So bhajte tadrishi krida yasritva tatparo bhavet, that he performs activity in such a way that by listening to that one becomes devoted to him. So although the question was that how is that he performed action which seems adharmic, but reply is that one would become devoted. So he did not truly explain how he becomes devoted to, one would become devoted to Krishna. But as we have read in the commentaries, that the meaning is that Krishna's play is not as seen in the material level, or materialistic people do that, but it is play of his love for his devotees, and devotees also acted or showed their love to him. So love is not bound by moral principles, or you can say that love is beyond that, because there can be a dharmic life, and there is dharmic life, and there is life which is beyond dharma. So just like there are logical statements, illogical statements, and then there are supralogical statements. So those things which are beyond logic does not mean that they are illogical. So Bhagavan is beyond logic. That does not mean that he is illogic. So similarly, he is beyond dharma. That does not mean he is adharmic. So some people think like that or may appear like that, and I was told that some people are also attacking me on Facebook for saying this, and our friend Scooty Ram is the champion of that. So, but it is not I am saying, it is Parikshit Maharaj himself saying it. He has used the word jugupsitam. Apt kamo yadupati kritvam me jugupsitam. And you cannot say that he is not a dharmic person. So for a dharmic person it appears, and therefore he is asking question, and what is wrong in raising a question? If you have a doubt, you should ask. And therefore Sukadeva Goswami is answering that. But if people cannot understand it, then they feel troubled by that. So instead of trying to understand, you attack, but that doesn't matter. So here he says that Brahmaratra upavritte Vasudeva anumoditaha anichanto yayur gopya swagrihan bhagavat priyaha. So they had performed this pastime, Rāsa-līlā, for the night which was as long as the night of Brahma. So Brahma's night is when 4 yugas pass 1000 times. That's how long his night is. So when that much time passed, Brahma Ratra Upavritte, then Vasudeva Numoditaha Anichantyo Yayur Gopya Swagrihan Bhagavat Priya. So gopis who are beloved of Bhagavan, Bhagavat Priya, Gopyaha, Swagrihan Yayu, they went back to their homes. And Vasudeva Anumodita, this was approved by him, this was his wish. Although they did not want to go Anichantyopi. So this is important point to understand. When it says Sarvdharman Paritajya, or that he gave up dharma, or the gopis, they gave up their Arya dharma. This giving up is not giving up in physical form, but giving up attachment to that. So it is not that Krishna is saying you become adharmic, but go beyond that. After all, what is the purpose of dharma? Dharma is not for the sake of dharma only. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, even in purushartha, chatur purushartha, dharma is not the ultimate purushartha. There also ultimate purushartha is moksha. So that means dharma is for the sake of moksha. And here it is described that it is actually ultimately for the sake of Bhagavan's pleasure. So giving up therefore is not that you don't care for dharma, but dharma has to be for this sake of Krishna Priti, because this is how Bhāgavatam began in the very beginning. This was the question raised by Saunaka Rishi to Suta Goswami, that tasmad ekantata shreya, that what is the ultimate shreya? Tanne bruhi sunischitam, please speak that with resolution, without any doubt. So that is what he says, that this is bhakti, yatma samprasidati. So bhakti is not against dharma, but if there is a conflict between bhakti and dharma, then bhakti has to be obviously favored. Otherwise dharma has no purpose. Varnashram acharvata purushena puman Vishnu aradhya panta nanyat tattosh karanam. So it is for his tosha, for his satisfaction. Varnashrama is also for that purpose. Varnashrama does not have purpose in its own self. It's not an end, it's only a means. So Purusha created this. Atma Prabham Vishmaran na bhajanti avjananti sthanat bhrashtat patanti adha. That all these Varna and Ashrama are created from him, or he created them. Atma Prabham Ishwaram. So if one does not do bhajan to him and simply follows Varnashrama, then he says patanti adha. So that is what is being depicted here. So therefore he sent them back, otherwise why is he sending them back? It says Vasudeva Anumodita, they did not want to go. Anichanteo Yayur Gopya Swagrihan Bhagavad Priya. They went back and they continued their duties. So although it was said that they gave up everything for him, so if they gave up, then why they are going back? In sannyas ashram, if first one takes sannyas and then goes back, then he is called Vantashi. Vantashi actually means a dog. Means who vomits and then eats it back. Dog does that. So that means he is asking them to be Vantashi or what? Because they gave up everything. That's what they said themselves also, that we have given up for you. So why is he asking them to go back? Because the point is not being in a house or being outside, but to be devoted. Otherwise the whole creation cannot function. So Brahmaratra iti samashanta arsa. Brahmaratra word is ratri, samasanta touch pratyay is used here. Let's say this is arsha usage, it's unusual. Brahmano ratrau yug sahasra pramanayam upavritte upadhikyena avritte ekam avritti gate sati gopya swagrihan yayu. So yug sahasra pramana nam, so 1000 yugas. Yuga means the chatur yugas, the cycle of 4 yugas. So when that much time was passed, upadhikyena avritte, so means one complete cycle was over, then the gopis, they went back to their homes. So ekasyam eva rajanyam etavatyo lilaha kartavya iti bhagavatah satya sankalpatvat nritya gitadayo vilasa yavanto mansi abhipsita asan तावतां संपूर्तौ यावन्तः समया संभवन्ति तावद्भिः समये युगसहस्रं पूर्णं बभूव तच्च युगसहस्रं प्रहरचतुष्टयात्मकं रजनी एव रासस्थल्यां प्रविवेश. So Bhagavan has his own sankalpa that in this one night only I will perform my lila. Ekasyam eva rajanyam etavatyo lila kartavya. All the pastimes. And because he is Satya Sankalpa, whatever he thinks happens. So then as many types of dances and songs and pastimes he wishes in his mind, manasya bhipshita asana. So that many he completed. And whatever was the time needed for that, yavantaha samaya sambhavanti tavadbhi samaye yugsahasram purnam babhuva. So to complete all this, the time which it took was 1000 Chaturyugis. But how is now this going to be matched with people who are other, because there will be a mismatch of time. After all, he is still part of Rāsa-līlā, other people are sleeping and their time is only whatever 8 hours, 10, 12 hours night. So he says Tacha Yug Sahasram Prahar Chaturshayatmakam, but it appeared to be only 4 praharas, 12 hours of time. So within those 12 hours which was experienced by other people, he performed pastime which took 1000 yugas. So this is what it means, that it is illogical. I mean, illogical means beyond normal logic, it is supra-logical. Cannot fit in that. So this is, cannot bring any mathematics to prove this, at least not the known one. So Rajni Madhya eva Rāsa-līlāṃ pravivesha. So that much time entered in that area, in that very night where he was performed his Rāsa-līlā. He gives one example for this. Yatha panchayojanatmaka Vrindavan Pradesha Ekadesha eva Panchashat Koti Yojana Pramanani Brahmandani Pravishtani Brahmana Drishtani. Just like when Brahma, he stole the calves, and then when he came after 1 year, and then he saw Krishna, and then all these calves and cowherd boys, they all turned into Vishnus. And each Vishnu was being worshipped by one Brahma of that Brahmanda. So many Brahmandas appeared in that small space. So how is it possible? Because Vrindavan area was only, as it says, Pancha Yojana. So within that 5 Yojana of space, the Brahmandas, which were like 500 Koti Yojana, Panchashat Koti Yojana. So these Brahmandas fitted into that small space, because Brahma witnessed it. So Brahmana Drishtani yatha chitas toka eva Bhāgavata udarasya upari aparimitani damani antarecha brahmandam eva drishtam abhut iti atra na sambhavana karya. So then he gives, as Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna, so she brought so many ropes and tied them together and then put them around Krishna's waist, and they fell short. And Krishna did not increase in size. He still stood there like a small boy. It's not that he was expanding himself like Trivikrama, like Vamandev became Trivikrama, not like that. So many ropes, Achita means all collected from the house and maybe from the neighborhood also, because she was determined to bind him. So Stoka eva, but he was small. Bhagavata udarasya upare. So how is this possible? This is difficult to understand. And also he showed the whole Brahmanda inside his mouth and he was eating clay. So in the small mouth, how can there be the Brahmanda? Not only Brahmanda but more Brahmanda inside Brahmanda, because Yashoda also saw herself inside the mouth where Krishna was opening the mouth, and inside that also there was another Yashoda opening Krishna's mouth. So this is difficult to imagine, but it happened. Therefore it says na sambhavna karya, that one should not think it to be impossible. Yaduktam Bhāgavatamrite, as it is stated in Bhāgavatamritam, evam prabho priyanam cha dhamnascha samayasya cha avichintya prabhavatvad kinchit na durghatam or kinchan adurghatam. So he says that in this way one should understand that Bhagavan and his beloved gopis, the abode, the time, they all have inconceivable prowess in them, and thus there is nothing which is not possible for it to happen. Everything is possible with them. Vasudevena anumodita mamcha bhavtinam cha prati tadrish krida siddhyartham prachanna kamta eva bhishta iti krishnena krita anumodana ityartha. So Vasudevena anumodita is approved, or was his wish. He says that our love would remain prachanna. So tadris krida siddhyartham, this play which we have done, and our love, it will remain hidden, secret. Therefore he said that you go back. Yadvat chittadhisthatra vasudevenaiva guru lajja bhyadikam udbhavya prerita. Or the meaning of Vasudeva here is not Krishna but the Antaryami in the heart. So that Antaryami only inspired them that they should return back because of their seniors, and out of shyness they should go back. Ateva priya virhasya dhusahtvad anichante vapi. So although it was intolerable for them to be separated from Krishna, yet unwillingly they went back. So that is the end of Rāsa-līlā description. Now there is the last sloka, which is like the Ashirvad of Sukadeva Goswami or Falashruti. Purushottam Prabhu, you have some question?
Yes, I had a question from the previous things where we discussing about Aswathama's case. Here he says because he was Brahma Bandhu and therefore Arjun didn't kill him. But he was Atatai, so is there some code that it is Brahma Bandhu, he should be relieved? Or because they relieved, he was removed from his jewel, and that was considered his death. What is the...
No, it was the statement we already read, that Brahmabandhurna hantavya atatai vadarahana. So Brahmabandhu means Brahmana should not be killed even if he is not a real Brahmana, even if it is a Brahmabandhu. Just like capital punishment, you see now in law, everyone is treated equally. Whether you are a Brahmana, whether you are a professor, or you are just a laborer, or you are a business person, there is no such discrimination in the modern law. But in the Smriti, there are different punishment, different prashchittas depending on to which varna you belong to.
Yes.
So Brahman is not to be given capital punishment. So that is the meaning of Brahma Bandhurna Hantavya.
Oh.
But then other statement is that Atatai Vadarhana. That if somebody is a Atatai, Agnida Gardaschaiva, there's 5 things who performs is called Atatai, then he should be killed. That is Manusmriti saying that. So Ubhayo Amnata, Maya Eva Amnata. Krishna says that both are my instructions, so now you do what you have to do. So then he does not kill him, and at the same time he kills him by taking away his jewel from the head. So that's Krishna Arjuna's understanding of dharma.
There is also a famous example, I think, in Mahabharata where 4 people, they were associated and they killed somebody and then asked Duryodhana how they should be punished, and Duryodhana said, punished everybody equally, kill them. And they asked Yudhishthira, and he asked everybody what is their varna, and he gave the punishment according to their varna.
I am not aware of this story. Malati.
Thank you.
Parvati, I think Shri Krishna Sharma Baba asked a similar question time ago, and I can't quite remember what you replied. In regard to this pastime becoming famous among the devas, the celestials, because all they came in their airplanes and it was known that the rasa dance is performed. But at the same time, it seems that here in Vrindavan it is secret. So is that the case, that it's meant to be secret in Vrindavan itself, but it's known everywhere else?
Everywhere else means on earth?
Means on earth and in the heavens.
Not earth, it was not known.
Okay.
Unless people spoke about it, the Brajvasis themselves, but it was not known.
So it was only known among the devas?
Yes. Because who is going to spread on earth except people who live here? And the gopis didn't want to tell it. That's what he's saying. So it was popularized by Vyasadeva.
Yeah.
Just related to that, in the first canto we hear this statement of Bhishma Dev during his Nirjan, where he seems to be clearly aware of quite specific details of what took place here in the Rāsa-līlā. So
Did he say about Rāsa-līlā?
Well, there's the statement in the first canto where he describes.
I know that. So here is the sloka. Lalit gati vilasa valguhasa pranay nirikshana kalpiturumana kritamanu-kritvatya unmadandha prakriti magan kiliyasya gopavadha. I mean, he's not specifically referring, but he's talking about their love relationship.
I mean, at least Jiva Goswami and others, the way they comment on that verse is they point to these verses in the Rāsa-līlā illustration of what he's saying. So, I've always wondered, how does Bhishma Dev know that? And my question is, could it be through Uddhava? In other words, if Uddhava came and heard the Brahmar Gita and got it and spent months here and conversed with the gopis, perhaps he spoke about this to a certain extent with other dignitaries of Dwaraka and elsewhere?
The news would go only from here outside. Whether it was Uddhava, there may be other people. Maybe Kunti was also coming here because he was related, and they may also have been, they're related. Maybe Bhishma also traveled here, who knows. They have heard he is a devotee. It's not that they did not get any news of other people. There must have been some communication.
And sorry if I can follow up, but apart from perhaps a small circle of these royal families that are already acquainted, generally speaking, on the earth, this was completely unknown. I mean, this is just among a very small circle of acquainted persons, relatively speaking, to...
Yeah, I mean, practically that's how it would be, because how will common people know? There was no such mass communication as we have now. But the only communication is when sadhus know, then they travel and they talk about it. So that is another possibility. Like Narada is going to Dwaraka, so he must have talked also with Uddhava. So it's not that then he may come and speak to Yudhishthira Maharaj or Bhishma or all these people. And in other assemblies, because he travels, he is like a spokesperson of Central News Agency. So news would spread like that in the olden times. It will take time, but still traveled. You can give the mic here.
So it's about the set of the mindset of the gopis, because by being there with Krishna and having this high, super, most exchange of love with him, and now they have to go back, correct? So then I'm like not curious, but I wonder how they think, how they are able to go back after having this type of...
Well, many times you have to also do things not just because you like or you don't like, Unless you don't care for anything and anybody, then you do what you want to do. This is the mentality also of the people at present. It's quite prevalent, although they cannot do it 100%, but people have this kind of mindset now that I don't care. But when you live in a society, then you cannot do that. So the point here is, this is what has to be understood, and this is what I am repeatedly saying. The point here is not to prove that gopis left their house, or they didn't leave their house, or they didn't care for their husband and children and they were with Krishna. The point is not that. Point is to make us understand what it feels like when you actually have bhakti. This is what you have to deliberate upon. That how does it feel to be a devotee? And devotee, when I'm saying, means one who has love. How does that devotee actually feel? So you think, like example of giving Ajat Pakshaya Mataram Khana. So how the birds are thinking of the mother coming, or how the calf is thinking. These examples, you have to study this. Or how if you love your husband and husband has gone away, what kind of feeling you have. Or if you can go back into your childhood. Maybe other examples don't work for anybody, but if you have some memory of being a small kid and how you felt towards your mother, or when you got separated from her, or you have to go to school first time, the first day when you have to go to school, how did you feel? You were jumping up and down happy, in happiness, or you were crying? So think of that feeling, that how you felt, how you did not want to be separated from your mother. So like that the gopis feel. I mean, like that is again not really, it's unimaginable how much they feel for Krishna. This is how their heart is. This is what it means that they are thinking, or truti yugayate tvam apashyata. So think of this, that how one truti is equal to one yuga not seeing Krishna. What is their heart? This is the whole point of Bhāgavatam. Dharma, not dharma, that is not the point. Not the point of giving up dharma. So in that state of mind you will do anything. And there is no criticism for that, because you are part of Bhagavan only, you are meant for him only. All this dharma is only to come to this point. Sarve vidhi nishedhasu etyor eva kinkara. Smartavya sattam Vishnu vismartavyena jatuchit. Remembering Krishna, not forgetting him. This is the purpose of vidhi and nishedha, which is dharma is only about that. Dharma means vidhi nishedha. Chodhana lakshano artho dharma. So when you come to that level, then dharma becomes natural for you. Whatever you do is dharma. When you come to that level, whatever you do is dharma only. That's why Krishna is not doing, he cannot do a dharmic thing. Gopis cannot do anything adharmic, it is not possible for them to. Because who is giving this vidhi and nishedha? Is Krishna is giving this. And why is he giving? So that we can become unmukha to him. And if you are already unmukha, then that's what dharma is. Save punsham paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshade. So now Bhagavatam begins like that. So this is what is to be understood. Otherwise you can keep on singing song about dharma, and then what? So then one who is a devotee, why would he do anything adharmic? Others have to think what is dharma and adharma, he doesn't have to think. His whole constitution is dharmic only. Because he is the person who is most aligned with Bhagavan. Dharma means to align with Bhagavan. Adharma means not aligned with him. So who is best aligned? A devotee, a bhakta. So how can he be adharmic? Therefore there are statements that if you do adharma for the sake of Bhagavan, that is dharma. And if you do dharma without Bhagavan, that is adharma. Why there are statements like that? So we have to understand what is the purpose of dharma. Just like artha does not have its own, it's really not a purushartha. You know. So this point has to be understood, then only you can understand what is Rāsa-līlā, otherwise doubts will keep on coming. Or you just superficially think, of course we also accept, there is nothing wrong. If you accept, then explain why this against dharma, why Parikshit is asking this question. Okay, anything else?
Yes, Babaji, I have been hearing the last chapters and I keep myself thinking that in Krishna Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami established this prakat and aprakat, and I have been thinking that this, and I want to know if it's like this or can be taken like this, that this lila have this peculiarity of behavior from Krishna and the gopis for establish the importance of this prakat lila, which is different from the aprakat. Of course, like they are not different itself, but for us they are different. So as devotees, like our desire, our mind must be concentrated in the place where he experienced those kinds of feelings more than other type of quality of the rasa. So I was thinking that this is not the explanation of Jiva Goswami in the Krishna Sandarbha is reconciling this idea of bad behavior or well behavior, because he pointed out the importance of the lila in that particular space itself. I don't know if
So what exactly you are saying? I'm not clear.
Yes, that the Prakat Lila have the characteristic that this particular Lila happened there, not in the Aprakat. And when the word here is telling one word that is Satya Kamam, which means that this, what happened there, this feeling, this desire which is there, is truth. So it's eternal. So in that sense,
so eternal means it can continuously manifest within manifest Lila, in the Prakat Lila.
So
one to another. It can be eternal like that.
yeah, so because I know that many people raise up this question of morality related to that behavior, but I think that when Jiva Goswami established this word Satyakama and this particular situation between Prakat and Aprakat resolved the whatever question can be done about the morality, because this is an eternal lila from him. And
so how does it solve the morality problem?
Because when he established the Prakat and Aprakat, in the Aprakat he established that they are married, and in this manifestation they just pass through this experience for show this increasing of the love, this. So it's not like constitutionally they are only one or the other, but that both are in that condition. So it's impossible
So
they be
just
adharmic.
like you are saying that I can say other way around. That if that is true, this is also true.
Yeah.
So then if it is true, then it is immoral. You are
But-
trying to prove that this is not immoral because the real thing is that. That's how you are trying to say. Right? And I am saying, why you want to take only that as the real thing and not this one?
Well, yes, it can. So in my mind, I didn't. But yeah, it can be taken like that. But this is also real. What I.
So if it is real, then someone says this is immoral. What is your solution? How does your explanation solve it?
Because both are real. That's my.
That's okay. Both are real. So how does it solve the problem of immorality?
Because by rule, if the other is real also, so there is no possibility of immorality. Because
I'm not talking about other. I'm talking about this one here. If this is real, then how does it? And someone says it is immoral. So what is your explanation to that?
that because Krishna protect them in the way of in the way that they in the Aprakat they are married. So
But Baba, I'm not going to Aprakat. I don't care about Aprakat.
Okay.
I'm seeing it here and I'm listening to this. So tell me how it should not be seen as immoral.
yeah, not from that perspective then.
So
Okay. Thank you.
okay. So next sloka. Vikriditam rajvadubhiridam cha Vishnoho Shraddhanvito nushunyadathu varnayedeha Bhaktin param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hidrogamaśvapinotya chirena dhiraha. So now Sukadeva Goswami he gives his blessings for anyone who listens to this pastime. This was also proving that this pastime has nothing to do with lust or what people understand relationship between boy and girl here in this material world. Because he says that idam cha vrajvadubhir vishnuho vikriditam, that this play of Vishnu, Sri Krishna with the Vrajvadhus, again the word Vadhu is used here, but now it is Vrajvadhu, not Krishna Vadhu. So the ladies of Vraja, Vadhu can mean unmarried, married, it can also be used as a common word just for any woman. We saw that Vadhu has three meanings. One is wife, one is son's wife, and one is a woman in general. So here it means Vraja ladies. So this play of Krishna with Vraja ladies, anyone, yes, Varniyed Shraddhanvito Anushunyadat, whether one describes it or one hears it, but with Shraddha, then what will be happen? Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hidrogam ashu apihnoti achirena dhira. So such a person who is dhira, he will attain para bhakti, supreme devotion, to Bhagwan. And after attaining this, his kama, which is the disease of the heart, kamam hridrogam, immediately will be dispelled. So if hearing this pastime makes one free from lust, then this pastime obviously cannot be lusty or related with lust. Because by hearing lusty pastimes or lusty activities, you don't become free from lust. You become more full of lust. So this is, and why would Sukdev describe if it had anything to do with lust? So whenever the word kama is used in relationship with Krishna and gopis, it does not mean lust, but it means prema. So prema eva kama ro gopuramanam kama iti agamat pratham. So prema of the gopis is also called kama. But the word kama which is used here, in case one misunderstands that, it is said hridrogam, that the disease of the heart. So people who are enjoying kama here in this material world, that means they are all heart patients, right? Because it says hridrog, this is a heart disease. So nobody is healthy in this material world. That is for sure. Everybody is heart patient. Everybody is sick. And heart disease is the worst disease. Because your whole body works because of the heart. It's like you have a sick engine in your car. So car is not going to run well. So body is not going to run well if the heart is not doing well. Right? If you have arrhythmia, then you don't do well. So he says hritrog, and the only solution for this heart's disease is bhakti. This param bhaktim pratilabhya. Only if you get bhakti, you become free from lust, material desire, sexual desire. Otherwise it is impossible. No one can get rid of it. Bhāgavatam says that except for Narayana, no one is free from this. So either Narayana or Narayana Bhaktas, they are the only one who are free from this. Everyone else is slave of this problem. So if Sukdev is saying this, Sukdev himself is free from this. That's why in the very first canto it was described that he was virakta. So virakta means visheshena rakta. Virakta, generally we think virakta means detached. It means specifically devoted. So Vishnu Rakta is virakta. One who is attached to Vishnu is called virakta. Others are not virakta. So only bhaktas are true viraktas. So vikreditam brajvadu bhiridam cha Vishnu shraddha anvito. So there are some specific words used here. Number one is it has to be heard with shraddha. If shraddha is not there, then we are not sure how much benefit you will get from it, which way it will work. And then anushruniyat, you have to hear it, or you describe it, both. So then one will attain bhakti, but one has to be dhira. So if one is dhira, that's a big quality, to be dhira, not adhira. So one who has hridrog, how that person can be dhira? So dhatte dharayate chaiva sa dhira iti udaharita. That is the definition of dhira. One who can hold his mind, his words, his actions and make others do that is called dhir purusha. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says Sarva-līlā chūdāmane rāsasya Shravana kirtan phalam api sarva phala chudamani bhutam evetyah vikreditam. So this sloka is also phalashruti. means it is describing the outcome, result of hearing this pastime. He says that this pastime of Rāsa-līlā, Rasasya, is the topmost of all the pastimes of Sri Krishna. And therefore the benefit of hearing it or describing it is also topmost. And that's what he says here, Vikreditam. Chakarad idrishya anyadapi anya kavi varnitam tabhi saha vikreditam. And idam cha Vishnu, the cha is used there. So cha says that not only this what is described here in Bhāgavatam, but if there are other poets who have described it, that will also have this benefit. Vishnoriti tasam madhye dvayor dvayo ityadi yukta vyapakatva abhiprayena. Why the word Vishnu is used here instead of Krishna? So he says because in this pastime he manifested. Vishnu means one who expands, Vispraveshne dhatu. So because he entered in between two gopis, like Vishnu enters into everything. So Tatsristva Tadanu Pravishat. He created and then he entered into it. So like that. So Vishnu is used in the sense of Vyapakatva, his pervasiveness, which he manifested here. And Nu Nishchitam. So the word Anushruniyad can also be read as Nu and Shruniyad. So Nu can mean Nishchitam certainly, or Anushruniyad if you take it, then Anudinam Vashruniyad, hearing it every day. Athvarnayet Kirtayet, or one who recites it. If you don't have anyone else to listen to it, you can just read it yourself. Or it means Svakavitaya Kavya Rupatvena Nibandhanati Itiva, or you yourself make poetry about it and then describe it. So you are also allowed that. So Param Bhaktim, what does Param means? Param means Prem Lakshnam Prapyati. So Bhaktim Param Pratilabhya. So Pratilabhya is Labdhatu, Tva Pratyaya, then Prati Samas, then it becomes Pratilabhya. So means having attained, means you attain Prema first and Hridrog goes later on. Not that first goes the Hridrog and then you get the Prema. The sequence is that it is Bhakti which kicks out the lust from the heart. Otherwise, how will you get the lust out and then Prema will come? So Bhakti itself throws it out. So that's why it says Prapyatikva Pratyayena Hidroga Vati api adhikarani pratham taiva premna pravesha. So he says that even a person who has Hridrog, the heart disease, has the adhikar, the eligibility to have prema. Generally their prema cannot be there. So tatastat prabhavenaiva acharito hridrog nasa iti. So then by the influence of that prema, achirato, not acharito, eva acharito hridrog nasa. So then quickly, immediately, just like you bring the light, the darkness goes away. There is no delay. So then the hridroga is destroyed. Iti prema ayam jnana yoga eva na durbala. So he says, therefore this prema is not weak like the jnana yoga. In case of jnana yoga, you have to first clean your heart, then only Brahman is going to manifest. If you have any trace of any attachments, Brahman will not manifest in the heart. The Brahma vritti will not come unless you remove all other vrittis. But here it is not like that. So this shows the power of prema. Partantrascha iti bhava. So therefore it is not dependent on anything. Even not durbala partantras. Hridroga rupam kamam iti bhagavad vishak kam vishesho vyavchinna. So why he said hridrogam kamam apihinoti? So he says, therefore one should not think that one would not have kama for Bhagwan. So it is the material kama which is dispelled, but Bhagavad Vishaya Kama or desire for Bhagwan, that is special type of kama, therefore that is not to be dispelled. Tasya prema amrita rupatvena tad vaipratyat. Because that kama is also prema, just another word. It's opposite to the material one. Dhira, what does the word dhira means here? He says dhira here means pandita, means a learned person. Iti hridroge sati api katham prema bhavet iti anastikya lakshanena murkhatvena rahita ityartha. So he is not foolish person who thinks that if I have a heart disease, how can I get prema? He says such person would not get. That's why it was said Shraddhanvita. So sometimes the word dhira is also translated as one who is free from aparadha. Niraparad chitta is called dhira. Ateva Shraddhanvita, therefore it was said that he should be Shraddhanvita, means Shastra Vishwasinam Nam Aparadhinam Premapi Nangi Karoti. So he makes it clear that one who does not have Shraddha in Shastra, he will not get prema. And then it is understood that one who does not have Shraddha in Shastra, he must have aparadha. That comes by inference. So you cannot have Shraddha in Shastra if there is offense. So therefore he says if one has nama aparadha, then prema does not accept such a person. So yavad papair malinam hridayam tavad evahi sat sastre sat buddhi sat satya buddhi sadguru tatha. So as long as the heart is unclean, then one cannot have Shraddha. So therefore it says that. So now Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, he concludes. Sri Krishnati Vashikaran Chanchor Jishnu Shiromane Premna Hasivayam Sri Rasa Sri Rapinapayam. So he says that this Rāsa-līlā is the Vashikara Chancho, the thing which controls Krishna, Jishnu, who conquers everyone else. He gets conquered by this Rāsa-līlā, and it is like Premna Hasivayam Sri Rasa. So it is like the laugh of love. And he also did not get it. Shastra buddhi vivekadeirapi durgam ikshate gopinam rasvartmedam tasam anugatair vina. So those who Shastra buddhi vivekadeirapi durgam ikshate, even those people who have viveka and Shastra buddhi, it is difficult for them to attain it if they do not follow on the path of the gopis. Tasam anugatir vina, without following the gopis, this path of Rasvartma is not possible, even if you are learned in Shastra. So means one has to take shelter of the gopis. Padvakya prakarana dhvanayatra sahasrasha samtiya gamyascha nukta vistar bhititah. So he says there are many dhvanis here in this Rāsa-līlā. Padadhvani, Vakyadhvani, Prakarana, so many, thousands and thousands of this. Some cannot be understood, some are known, means he knows some of them, but because of not expending too much, he did not write. Iti sarartha darshinyam harshinyam bhakta chetasam dasmasya trayastrinsham sangata satam. So in this way, Sarartha Darshini commentary, which gives bliss to the heart of the devotees and written in the association of the devotees, on 33rd chapter of 10th Canto has been completed. So this is the end of 33rd chapter Rāsa-līlā. Any more questions?
So you were saying that the point of this Rāsa-līlā is to convey the love that the gopis have for Krishna, and that because there's a lot of detail given, but the details given to explain their bhava. How literally do we take all of these little details, especially in...
Like which kind of detail?
I guess, we... trying to think of something specific, but Vishwanath Chakravarti, he gives a lot of extra information in his commentary, and we hear about, the gopis that couldn't come, some of them are given like an extra body so that they can be part of it. And, this is, obviously it's quite inconceivable, but how much of that description is given just to explain the love that they have, or are all of these things?
One is to explain the love, other is that is not that explanation of that they had another body is nothing to do with their love. It is to explain the whole problem of dharma or morality. It's related with that. Because this doubt comes in the mind that how is that Krishna performed this immoral act. So just to explain that. Anything else?
Babaji, when here it is mentioned that Hridroga is going when the arrival of Prema is there, how can we see it? Is it like from the practice of sadhana bhakti to bhava bhakti? Is it going from like you have 100% Hridroga and then it's completely eradicated?
It's just like as the light is coming, like sun is rising. So as the sun is rising, the darkness is going.
So even during sadhana bhakti, it is slowly getting eradicated.
Yes. Keshav Priya.
I'm having trouble with Shraddha, and I was wondering whether you could tell me whether I have the timeline correct now. You said that lust will go away when that first bhakti manifests, and bhakti will only manifest when one has Shraddha, and without that first, in order to have Shraddha, the cleaning of the heart should be done in order for the aparats to go away. So do I have the timeline then correct? With the first cleaning of the heart, then aparat will go away, Shraddha will manifest, bhakti will manifest, and lust will go away. I'm mainly aiming for advice on Shraddha to become stronger.
So Shraddha is difficult when heart is full of offenses. Because you have to think what is an offense. Like Shruti Shastra Nindanam, right? It is one of the offense to not believe in Shastra or to act against Shastra or to criticize Shastra is one of the offense. So now how can you have Shraddha in Shastra if you have that offense? Because Shraddha is also a mindset and offense is also a mindset, and they are contradictory to each other. So you have to give up the offensive mentality to have Shraddha. And then when you hear Shastra with that favorable mentality, then it will take effect. But imagine a person who has offensive mentality towards Shastra, he hears this, what will happen? Such a person will only see faults in it. Right? And if you see fault and flaws in it, then how you are going to get the benefit of prema? You cannot love somebody and also find fault with that person. Because seeing fault in this means seeing fault in Krishna. After all, it is Krishna who is doing it. So how can you get love for Krishna when you are seeing him as a person who has flaws? Or gopis have flaws. Seeing flaws in gopis is also an obstacle to Krishna prema. That's what it says. That without the anugatya of the gopis, you cannot get it. Because they are the beloveds of Krishna. If you find fault with his beloved, how is he going to love you? So that is the first step, that we have to give up offensive thinking towards Shastra. If we do not understand, then you should not think that it is wrong, it is faulty, but you should think that I am unable to understand it. That's okay. That's not an offense. But if you start finding fault with it, then we are creating obstacles for ourselves. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
You just said that there are many dhvanis in this chapter. Mohini would like to know about the dhvanis in this chapter. Could you please explain shortly what dhvani means?
Dhvani means implied meanings. That's what dhvani means. Vyanjana. Dhvani is another word for Vyanjana.
And will you shortly elaborate on the different dhvanis which you just mentioned today or these days?
Just like we hear this dhvani means, now you should, what is the dhvani? Like one of the dhvani of this, that one who reads this or hears this will become free from hridrog. So he is not saying that you should do it. He is saying one who hears. Yes, sunyad athvarna vedava. So dhvani is that you should do it. That is a simple dhvani. That's how dhvani works.
And then she would like to know regarding to Bhishma. So, is it the right definition of Mahajana to say that someone who knows about Parakya?
No, that is not right. Yes, Vidyaji.
Well, then, Pranam Sri. I like this sloka very much, 39. And there are many, there are different opinions on how to read this. And my understanding of this sloka is that basically one should take advice of Shukadev and just basically listen to this chapter or Panchadhyaya very carefully and obtain the purity of the heart in order to obtain prema. Now, is there any additional advice on that, or is then adhikar required, or just simply eager desire to do that enough?
The adhikar is explained here. There are two words which are used in this sloka. One is shraddhanvito, other is dhira. So this is the adhikar. So anyone who has that can hear.
And yet, dhira is, I understand it, it's explained by Vishwanath Chakravartipad that one who takes this advice seriously, that actually by listening to this or repeating this chapter, one really removes this hridrogam from the heart, not that one that doubts about it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's very clear. Thank you.